Back in 1890s North Carolina, there was a pharmacist by the name of Caleb Bradham who's developing quite a name for himself. He was serving up a drink of his own making to his customers who seemed to really enjoy it quite a bit. It was quite tasty. And he called it Brad's Drink. Makes you wonder what it tasted like, right? Well, back in the olden days, it was not unusual for soda shops, soda fountains, to be housed within pharmacies. So you wouldn't just go there to have a prescription filled. You would probably also get a cold, refreshing drink on a hot summer day, or satisfy your sweet tooth with a root beer float. And then you'd hang out with your friends because they were all there. That's what people did, especially in those small towns. But Caleb knew he was on to something big. He knew he was on to something special. So on this day, August 28th, 1898, he changed the name of Brad's Drink to what we now know as Pepsi Cola. Yeah, that's how he got this. And the reason it's called Pepsi is because he advertised it as being able to relieve dyspepsia, which is nothing more than indigestion or a stomach ache. I guess he was working an angle, people trusted him, and maybe they had good reason for believing that. Maybe it does relieve a stomach ache for some people. But that's what he called it back in 1898, and he trademarked the name in 1903. What does that tell you? What can we take away from all of that? I'll tell you what it tells me. Is that when something comes into this world, when something goes out there into the world, it needs a name, right? And there might come a time when when it needs to move in a more positive direction, that the name needs to be changed. When you came into the world, you were given a name. And chances are your parents thought long and hard about what they were going to name you, and probably had a myriad of different names they could give you. But they settled on one, or maybe they settled on two, right? You have a first name and a middle name. And perhaps they named you after a family member or a friend to honor and respect them, to remember them by. Maybe they heard a name they liked, it sounded pretty, and they decided to go with that. But I think in most cases, parents these days, and probably for a long time, they've been scouring baby books and looking at all the different names that either sounded pretty, looked nice, or had rich meaning, such depth of meaning. Because names do have meaning. It's probably the most personal thing about you. It's given to you at birth, and very few people ever really change it legally. Okay? What does your name mean? Put that down in the comment section down below. Tell me what your name means, and ask yourself if you actually lived up to it. Like, for instance, my first name, David, means beloved. My middle name, Gregory, means vigilant. And I would say that while it's questionable if I've always been beloved, one thing's for sure, I've always been vigilant. That really does describe my personality quite a bit. I didn't try to live up to that. It just happened to be that way. They just happened to get that one right. So what is your name? What does it mean? Put that down in the comment section below and ask yourself, have you lived up to it? You know, one of my favorite places to read about names, believe it or not, is the Bible. It's resplendent with them. And in a lot of cases, they'll tell you exactly what these names mean, because they took it quite seriously. Yeah, they did. And there were times when they actually changed the names. For instance, names that didn't change but have great depth of meaning is a name like David, like King David. It was an easy one for me to pick. It meant beloved of God. Emmanuel, it's another name for Jesus. It literally means God with us. And then you have my favorite name in the New Testament, for some reason, it's Barnabas. It means son of consolation, or son of encouragement. It doesn't mean that his daddy's name was Consolation. It just means he bore the same qualities, the exact same qualities and likenesses of that attribute. I love that. It just means so much. And Barnabas apparently did live up to that name. But there are people in the Bible whose names did change. And it might surprise you why. I don't have the time to go into all the whys, but I just kind of give you 3 names and tell you how they were changed and what that should mean to you. One of the names was Abram. It was changed to Abraham. And this is when he was 99 years old. I believe it was 99 years old. It seems kind of late in the game. But yeah, his name, Abram, meant exalted father. When God changed it to Abraham, it meant father of many nations. You might think, well, it sounds very similar, but it's really not. There's a difference in depth. There's a difference in color and hue. It takes on a different meaning. It magnifies the name itself. It actually signifies that he's taking on a different role and a new purpose. He's moving in a new direction. It's exactly what it meant. Another name that got changed was Jacob. Jacob's name meant supplanter. Supplanter means to rip up, to displace. And Jacob was not necessarily a great guy. No, let's just put it this way. If Jacob went on the show Survivor, he would win. And no matter how many times if he went on that show, he could win every single time. That's the kind of guy he was. But God changed his name to Israel, which means wrestles with God. And that's exactly what he did. God came down in the flesh and wrestled with him. He contended with him. Another name that changed was Simon in the New Testament. Jesus changed his name to Peter, which means rock. And but all of these names signify that there's a different role that they're now playing. They're now moving in a different direction. They have a new purpose. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what your character is. It doesn't matter whether you believe in yourself or not. God can change your name. And if you're at a point in your life where you're questioning why things aren't moving along the way you think they should, or if you've really got more to you than what you've been allowing yourself, you might want to ask yourself, is it time for me to change my name? I don't mean go to the courthouse and go through a legal process. I'm talking about redefining yourself. God did it to people all the time. And he's still in the business of doing it now. Here's my suggestion. Contend with God. Wrestle with God. Petition him. Ask him, what is my role? What is my purpose? Because that'll help you to know which direction you should be moving in. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter what your past is. He can still do something with you. So learn from that. I hope it's meant something to you. And if you got nothing else out of this, what I would tell you is maybe you should pick up a Pepsi today and drink it in remembrance of Caleb and all his hard work and efforts. Yeah, Brad's drink. I like Pepsi. I mean, in some cases, I like it more than Coke. I don't know about you, but that's what I have for you today. I hope it's giving you something to think about. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Take this seriously. Comment down below. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Share this with others. I'll catch you in the next one. Be wise.